My child, draw near, not with trembling hands, but with an open heart. For what I speak now is not for your ears alone. It is for your spirit, for your soul that has endured the stretching of seasons and the silence that felt like absence. You've mistaken quiet for distance, stillness for delay. But I have not been idle. I have been near, closer than the breath you've sighed in the dark. You wonder why it's taken so long, why the vision I showed you years ago still lingers on the horizon, why the doors remain unopened, why your name hasn't echoed in the rooms you've prayed to enter. But hear me, child. Before I bring you into visibility, I must bring you into clarity. Not clarity of circumstances, but clarity of identity. Because if I give you the platform before I give you the understanding of who you are in me, the applause will replace your anchor. I've heard the cries you didn't say aloud, the ones buried under layers of I'm fine, masked by service, muffled by responsibility. You've carried much. You've held your peace while your heart ached in silence. But I want you to know, I saw every moment you stayed when you could have walked away. I recorded every unseen sacrifice, every yes in the dark, every prayer whispered through tears. Not one of them was wasted. You are not overlooked. You are reserved. I do not reserve what is common. I reserve what is consecrated, what is costly, what carries eternal weight. You have been in my preparation room not because you were forgotten, but because you were being formed. This season has not been a detour. It has been divine design. And though you long for release, I long for your readiness. Can you trust me even when the timing confuses you? Can you lean into me when I feel quiet? Not as a punishment, but as a teacher. Silence with me is never void. It is fertile soil. It is the womb of revelation. The deeper you sink into the quiet, the louder my truth will echo within you. This is not about what you can do for me. This is about what I am doing in you. The reshaping, the refining, the revival. You've been faithful in hiddenness, and I don't take that lightly. I've watched you steward the unseen with humility. I've seen you celebrate others while wondering if your time would ever come, and I honor that. Let me make this plain. You are not delayed. You are being aligned. Your spirit has been outgrowing your old surroundings. The comfort you once knew has become tight, like a garment that no longer fits. That discomfort isn't punishment. It's proof of growth. I've been expanding your capacity for what I'm about to entrust to you. The depth of your calling demands a deep well of character. I'm digging that well now. Every testing, every delay, every hidden year has been part of the excavation. You've asked for influence, but I've been giving you intercession. You wanted momentum, but I gave you maturity. You prayed for expansion, but I gifted you endurance. Not to deny your desires, but to develop your foundation. I will not build high what cannot stand deep. Look again, beloved. This wilderness wasn't meant to wither you. It was meant to water the roots beneath the surface. You've been growing in secret, becoming stable in silence, becoming sensitive to my whispers. And that sensitivity is your superpower. When others chase volume, you've learned to follow vision. When others crave status, you've cultivated stillness. That posture is not weakness, it's wisdom. You are not missing out. You are being made ready. The unveiling that comes will not be a result of your striving. It will be a result of your surrender. I do not anoint ambition. I anoint alignment. I'm calling you back to that place, not a place of pressure, but of presence. I want you to be a dwelling, not a display. A carrier, not just a communicator. Many can speak of me. Few allow me to speak through them. Let me speak through you, but first, I must be allowed to speak to you. Return to the secret place, not as an obligation, but as a holy obsession. Meet Me again where no one else applauds, where no metrics exist, where your only goal is me. That is where your power will be restored. That is where the oil will increase. That is where your soul will remember why it was created, to walk with me, not just work for me. I am your reward, not the result of your prayers. I am the portion, not the proof. When you see that, truly see that, then everything will begin to shift. Not because I changed my mind, but because your mind aligned with my heart. Let's begin again. Not as strangers finding rhythm, but as beloved returning to the heartbeat that first called you. I am still speaking. Are you listening? My child, now that your ears have been opened again to my voice, let me speak to the weight you've carried. Not just the burdens you've named, but the invisible ones. The weight of expectation, the weight of becoming, the weight of holding everything together when everything inside of you was unraveling. You thought it was weakness when your soul trembled. But I say, it was worship, because you trembled and still trusted. That is not failure, that is faith refined by fire. I've seen you wear strength like armor, not because you were proud, but because you were afraid of falling apart in the wrong hands. But you don't need to shield yourself from me. I am the hands that hold what breaks without letting it be destroyed. I will not crush the bruised reed. I will not snuff out the smoldering flame. I breathe gently where others demand loudly. I speak peace where others command performance. You've asked me, God, how much longer? And I tell you, not much. Longer now, but first I must show you how to carry glory without breaking under it. Because, my child, what I am about to place in your life isn't light, it's weighty. Not the weight of pressure, but the weight of presence. Glory is not a decoration. It is not a spark or a sensation. Glory is substance, and it will require surrender. To carry my glory, you must allow me to strip away everything that competes with my voice, the idols of appearance, the need to be understood, the addiction to applause. These things cannot hold what I'm pouring out. You must be emptied to be entrusted, and you have been emptied, but not in vain. In your emptiness, I was not absent. I was present. I was doing the slow work of consecration. I was sanctifying your motives. I was refining your vision. You thought nothing was happening, but heaven was moving. While you waited, I was removing the sediments that would cloud your clarity. I was filtering your desires through my holiness. I was teaching you the rhythm of rest, the discipline of delight, and the endurance of faith without sight. You learned to lead from the floor, not the stage. You learned to intercede in shadows, not spotlights. You learned to believe even when belief was all you had left. And those lessons will become your legacy. Because what I build through you will not come from mere knowledge, it will come from knowing. Intimacy, not industry. Presence, not platform. Yes, I will increase your reach, but I will increase your root system first, because only rooted ones can carry revival. And revival is what I'm stirring in you. You've mistaken revival for noise, but revival begins in nearness. When dry bones hear my breath, when weary hearts hear my whisper, when broken voices echo with boldness again, that revival has started in you. And now I am preparing to spread it through you, but not without weight, not without cost. There are places I'm calling you that will not welcome you at first. There are spaces where your voice will feel strange, your presence resisted. But go anyway. You are not being sent to impress. You are being sent to impact. You do not need the room to approve of you. You need only to carry me into it. I will give you words that cut without wounding, that heal without flattery, that speak directly to the marrow, separating soul and spirit. But to wield that kind of word, you must be yielded daily. This is not a seasonal calling. This is a life-anchoring identity. You are my voice in rooms of confusion. You are my answer to cries that have gone unspoken. You are my light in atmospheres that have forgotten what clarity feels like. And you do not need to become this, you already are. You are not evolving into your purpose. You are awakening into it. That's why the tension has felt so intense lately. Because your spirit recognizes what your mind hasn't fully caught up to yet. The shift has already begun. Yes, you've looked around and seen others rise. You've celebrated them while silently wondering if my favor forgot you. But let me settle this once and for all. My favor has not forgotten your name. It has been following you in the shadows. It has been fighting for you behind the scenes. It has been guarding the doors I told it not to open yet. Not because you weren't ready in value, but because the assignment wasn't yet in position. You see time as a ticking clock. I see it as a weaving thread. What I have been preparing for you has not been sitting idle. It has been maturing just like you. And now the threads are coming together. What I have spoken over you is still alive. What I promised is still unfolding. You do not need to resuscitate what looks dead. I am the God who breathes life into dry places, and my breath is blowing again. Upon your vision, upon your voice, upon your next steps. But here's what I need from you now: agreement. I do not need your striving. I need your surrender. Not because I am distant, but because I am ready. Ready to move through you, to build through you, to awaken through you. I'm asking you to walk differently now, no longer as one uncertain, but as one entrusted. Let the old fears go. Let the old insecurities fall off. They were attached to the version of you that didn't yet understand the weight you carried, but now you do. And because you understand, you must walk as one who is aware. Aware of your authority. Aware of your assignment. Aware of my nearness in everything. From this point forward, you do not beg for what I've already given. You steward it. You nourish it. You declare it. You protect it. You speak it until every corner of your mind and atmosphere submits to truth. Yes, child, speak again. Declare what I've said, out loud. You've been too quiet for too long, not because you lost your voice, but because you were waiting for confirmation. Let me be that confirmation now. You are chosen. You are called. You are not waiting for your name to be called. You are the calling. Let these words be water to your weary soul. Let them rinse the residue of delay, of disappointment, of disillusionment. You are not who the process tried to convince you to become. You are who I spoke before time began, and now, that truth is rising again. You feel it, don't you? That stirring that won't go away. That soft weight of glory pressing on your chest in the quiet. That's me. That's my presence. That's my confirmation. So lift your head. Lift your hands. Lift your expectations again. It's not over. It's just beginning. My child, now that your spirit is stirring again, now that your eyes have lifted and your soul remembers, let us talk about obedience. Not the kind that flows from fear, but the kind that flows from love. The kind of obedience that says, "Yes, Lord," before the outcome is known. The kind that trusts not because the path is clear, but because the one leading is faithful. Obedience has become a heavy word in your past, hasn't it? You've seen it twisted into pressure. You've watched it weaponized into perfectionism. But I want to redeem that word for you. I want to return it to its original glory. Because true obedience, pure obedience, is not bondage. It's alignment. It is the rhythm of love responding to love. You don't obey to prove yourself. You obey because you belong. You obey not to earn favor, but because you carry it. And now the favor on your life demands movement. You have heard enough. You have wept enough. You have waited long enough. Now is the moment to step, to build, to rise, to respond. Even if it doesn't make perfect sense. Even if you feel unsure. Even if you still feel fragments of fear. Because obedience is not confidence in your capability. It's confidence in my constancy. I did not ask you to move because you were ready. I asked you to move because I am ready. And yes, your obedience will cost you. It will cost your comfort, your explanations, your timelines, your preference to understand before you act. But what it costs will never outweigh what it releases. You are standing at a divine intersection. The intersection between remembrance and release. I have reminded you of who you are. Now I ask, will you walk in it? Don't wait for the approval of man to confirm what I have already commanded. You do not need a crowd to move. You do not need a stage to start. You do not need applause to know that it's me. All you need is my word, and you have it. I whispered it in the midnight moments. I spoke it through tears you didn't think I saw. I declared it in dreams you've dared to forget. And now I bring it back to the surface, not as a hope, but as a summons. This is your time to respond, not to everything, but to the one thing I've been stirring deep within you. Yes, that idea, that step, that call, that risk. It wasn't a fantasy, it was a seed. And now it is time for it to grow. You've said, but Lord, I don't have enough. And I say to you, I am enough. Bring me the little. Bring me the 5 loaves. Bring me the mustard seed. Bring me the empty jar. Bring me what you have, and I will show you what I can do with surrender. This is the altar I am asking you to build, an altar of obedience, not of stone, but of decision, not of sacrifice, but of surrender, not of performance, but of presence. You don't need to wait until you feel strong. You don't need to wait until every detail is planned. Strength will come in the stepping. Clarity will come in the movement. Provision will come in the obedience. You are walking into places you've only prayed about, but you must go without the chains of doubt. You are writing what you were once afraid to say. You are praying with words you never learned from books. Words my spirit is forming in your spirit. You are dreaming again. Not small dreams, but kingdom dreams. Dreams that build, dreams that break chains, dreams that birth legacy. Do not dismiss them. They are not too big. They are not too bold. They are not too impossible. I specialize in impossible. And what I've given you is not fantasy. It's blueprint. But blueprints are useless if never built upon. So build. Build in the dark. Build in the quiet. Build while it's still unfamiliar. Build even if no one else sees yet. You're not building for them. You're building for me. And I see it all. Every step of faith. Every risk of obedience. Every yes that cost you comfort. I do not forget the hands that obey even when the outcome is uncertain. You will be tempted to hesitate, to wait for another confirmation, to delay in the name of wisdom. But child, listen to me. This is not a moment for delay. This is a moment for decision. Not everything will be revealed before you move, but revelation will follow the movement. And when you move, heaven moves with you. I go before you, I cover behind you, I surround you on every side. You are not stepping into a void. You are stepping into a prepared place, a place I've carved out for your faith, a space that your obedience will unlock. This is the reward of trust. Not always comfort, not always control, but always presence. I will meet you there, in the writing, in the creating, in the leading, in the asking, in the launching, in the letting go, in the holding on, in the yes. I will meet you at the altar of your obedience, and where I meet you, everything changes. My child, now that you have brought your yes to the altar, let us talk about the fire. Not the fire of destruction, but the fire of formation. You have feared the fire because you've mistaken it for punishment. But this fire is not sent to burn you. It is sent to brand you, to refine what is eternal, to consume what cannot follow you into the next season. You've asked me to use you. You've asked me to make you ready. And this holy fire is my answer. Because I do not anoint who you pretend to be. I anoint who you truly are. And to reveal that, I must let the fire touch the places you've tried to keep safe from it. Let me explain what's happening. When the fire comes, it will feel like loss at first, like shedding, like disorientation. But that is not loss. It is clearing. It is me removing layers that no longer carry life. I do not prune what is dead. I prune what is alive so that it can multiply. Do not resist the flame. Welcome it, because what it burns away is not who you are. It is what has been hiding who you are. Fear, shame, pride, old loyalties, misaligned alliances, outdated identities. I burn these not to erase you, but to reveal you. This is not a fire of wrath. It is a fire of mercy. Mercy that refuses to let you walk into the fullness of your calling, wearing garments that don't fit you anymore. Mercy that refuses to allow you to carry baggage into the building of my kingdom. Mercy that says, I love you too much to leave this untouched. And I want you to hear me clearly. Not all pain is punishment. Some pain is purification. Some pain is what happens when the soul grows faster than the comfort zone it once called home. Some pain is permission being granted for new strength to be formed. You are not being punished. You are being purified. You are being prepared. Do not pray away what I sent to prepare you. I know it feels like the pressure has intensified. I know the warfare has become more frequent. I know the weight has grown heavier. But none of this is a sign of disqualification. It is a sign of distinction. You are not being crushed to be discarded, you are being pressed to carry oil. And oil only flows through the crushing. You have asked for authority. You have prayed for anointing. But authority is not cheap, and anointing is not light. They are the byproducts of a life yielded in fire. And I have seen your fire, the nights you wept and still worshipped, the days you doubted and still obeyed, the moments you felt abandoned and still believed. That is fire-tested faith. That is the kind of vessel I can trust with nations, because anyone can carry vision in victory. But only the anointed can carry vision in the valley. And you, my child, have walked through valleys no one knew about. You have stood in shadows and still chosen light. You have endured silence and still sung praise. You have been misunderstood, misjudged, misnamed, and yet you remained. Heaven has recorded it all, and I am not unjust. I do not forget what you have suffered for my sake. I do not overlook what you have surrendered, and I will not ignore what you have endured. I am the God who rewards in public what was sacrificed in secret. But first, the fire must finish its work. Let me into the places still protected by pain. Let me refine the thoughts that still carry poison. Let me interrupt the lies that still whisper unworthiness. Because purity is not just about behavior, it is about clarity. And I want your heart clear again. Clear from striving, clear from proving, clear from carrying what was never yours. The fire is not coming to expose your shame. It is coming to expose my strength. And that strength, my strength, will be your foundation. You've built well, but now I want to rebuild deeper, stronger. I want to give you foundations that will outlast storms, truth that cannot be shaken, love that cannot be corrupted, identity that cannot be stolen. That is what the fire births. And once the fire has passed, what remains is eternal, unshakable peace, unwavering purpose, uncompromising clarity. You will speak, and fire will flow from your voice. Not anger, not ego, but my spirit. You will walk into rooms and shift the air, not by force but by flame. Not because you tried to be loud, but because you've been lit in my presence. My fire will mark you. You will be recognized not by titles, not by followers, not by outward signs, but by the burn in your eyes, the light in your voice, the weight in your words, the discernment in your silence. Because fire doesn't just leave scars, it leaves glory. And the glory you carry will not fade. It will increase. It will draw. It will burn away confusion around others too. Because when you burn for me, others find their way by your flame. That is why I am allowing this season to refine you, so that your flame is not easily blown out, so that your fire is not from emotion, but from encounter, so that your glow is not temporary but eternal. And yes, there will be days you want to run, days you will beg me to end the process early, days you will wonder if this is all worth it. But I promise you, every tear will become oil, every wound will become wisdom, every delay will become design, and you will rise from this fire, not broken, but blazing. My child, now that the fire has formed you, now that the impurities have been drawn out and the gold refined, it is time for you to receive what I have long been preparing, the mantle. The mantle is not fabric, it is weight. Not a costume, but a covering. It is the unseen authority draped over your life, the sign in the spirit that you have been entrusted. And now, after years of quiet consecration, after walking through deserts, disappointments, and divine delays, I'm placing it on your shoulders. You didn't earn this mantle through performance. You received it through perseverance. You didn't fasten it through perfection. You inherited it through surrender. There are mantles others coveted, but they lack the capacity to carry. Mantles require crushing. They require silence. They require stretching. That's why you were hidden. That's why your journey didn't look like theirs. That's why the doors they walked through didn't open for you. Not because you were disqualified, but because you were marked for more. This mantle carries responsibility. It carries revelation. It carries legacy. It is not for show. It is for service. It is not for attention. It is for assignment. And now I reveal to you, your assignment is awakening. You were not saved just to survive. You were chosen to carry a sound that disrupts slumber, a voice that wakes the weary, a message that cuts through cultural fog and brings clarity again. This world is weary of noise, but it is starving for clarity. And you, my child, have been saturated in my truth, not for argument, not for status, but for healing, for reconciliation, for revival. There is a specific sound that only comes through a specific journey. That's why I allowed yours to be so specific. You've walked through valleys that weren't about punishment, but about precision. You had to be shaped by silence so your sound would carry weight when it came. And now it's coming, not your noise, but your sound, your spiritual frequency, your unmistakable resonance in the spirit that causes chains to tremble and sleepers to stir. This is what you were forged for. This is what the oil was pressed for. This is why you could not be rushed, because a shallow voice can entertain, but only a consecrated voice can awaken. I want to awaken through you. Not just buildings, but hearts. Not just events, but atmospheres. Not just moments, but movements. You are not an echo. You are a trumpet. You are not a copy. You are a call. And this call cannot be silenced. It cannot be edited to please the crowd. It cannot be adjusted to avoid offense. What I've placed in you must come forth as I gave it. Raw, holy, unfiltered by fear, unshaped by trends. You do not need to water it down. You do not need to tone it down. You do not need to dress it up. Speak what I've given you. Walk where I send you. Move when I nudge you. Because the mantle is not about the spotlight. It is about surrender. You carry my heart now. Not just for the broken, but for the builders, for the weary prophets, for the discouraged leaders, for the ones who once burned but now barely flicker. You will speak to them. You will remind them of their original yes. You will call them back to the altar, not the altar of performance, but the altar of presence. You carry the sound of remembrance, the sound of divine confrontation, the sound of holy realignment. You will be misunderstood, but you will not be misled. You will be resisted, but you will not be removed. You will be challenged, but you will not be shaken, because you carry my mantle, and my mantle carries my name. This is the season where your voice rises, not to boast, but to build, not to prove, but to prepare, not to dominate, but to deliver. There are generations waiting on your yes. There are territories assigned to your steps. There are hearts calibrated to your cadence. You do not move for applause. You move for alignment. And heaven will confirm what earth cannot yet comprehend. This is your mantle. Wear it without shame. Wear it with reverence. Wear it with wisdom. And above all, wear it with worship. Because your worship will guard your wisdom. Your intimacy will protect your influence, and your humility will sustain your momentum. Remember this. It is not charisma that sustains a mantle. It is consecration, and you have been consecrated. You have been carved out of silence, birthed from surrender, sealed in fire. You are no longer asking, "What is my purpose?" You are walking in it. Step by step, word by word, yes by yes. And every time you choose obedience over comfort, the mantle becomes heavier, not with burden, but with blessing. Not with fame, but with fire. This fire is not to consume you. It is to compel you. The mission is not optional. It is ordained. Walk now, not just clothed in calling, but cloaked in covenant. For what I have begun in you, I will complete. My child, now that you wear the mantle, and your mission has been made clear, let me speak to the next dimension. Favor. Not the kind that man chases, but the kind that follows those who walk in alignment. The kind that opens doors you didn't knock on. The kind that places you in rooms you didn't campaign for. The kind that causes your presence to shift atmospheres, not because of your name, but because of mine upon you. You've misunderstood favor in the past. You've seen it as approval, as applause, as promotion. But true favor is none of those things. Favor is divine positioning. It is when I place you in the path of purpose. It is when I move through you in such a way that what would take years happens in moments. Because it's not you making it happen. It's me. You will not have to strive for this. You will not have to manipulate it. You will not have to exhaust yourself to maintain it. Because favor sustained by flesh becomes a burden. But favor carried in surrender becomes a river. And I am calling you now into the flow. The flow of divine timing. The flow of supernatural grace. The flow of provision that arrives just when you need it. Not a moment too soon, not a moment too late. Yes, you've felt the tension between readiness and waiting. You've carried the ache of delay like a silent companion. But I tell you, the waiting was not denial. It was divine synchronization. Everything is aligning. You feel it in your bones, don't you? The invisible pieces clicking into place. The people arriving with familiar spirits though you've never met. The ideas coming at dawn with clarity beyond your own understanding. That's favor. That's my hand orchestrating what your efforts could never engineer. And yet, even in this flow, I must remind you, do not worship the favor. Worship me. Favor is not your identity. It is not a trophy. It is not a guarantee of ease. It is a responsibility. Because with every open door comes a new level of discernment. Not every way. Invitation is mine. Not every opportunity is aligned. You must learn to recognize the difference between the good and the God-ordained. Some platforms will glitter, but not every platform can bear your oil. Some offers will flatter your ego, but not every offer will feed your spirit. That's why I have sharpened your discernment in the hidden years. So you will not trade your anointing for visibility. So you will not confuse attention with assignment. So you will not sell your calling for counterfeit comfort. Let favor find you faithful. Let it rest on shoulders that know how to bow low. Let it flow through hands that remain open, never clinging, never closing around control. You must hold favor like you hold fire, with reverence. Do not tame it. Do not dim it. Do not hoard it. Let it flow. And let it point others not to your skill, but to my spirit. Because true favor is not about your success. It's about my glory revealed through your life. This is why I've kept you grounded. This is why I've kept you walking in secret places. Because I did not want you to confuse attention for affirmation. You don't need the world to recognize you. You need to recognize me, and I am with you in every meeting, in every decision, in every conversation where your voice carries more weight than your years suggest, in every space where peace enters as soon as you do. That's not charisma. That's covenant. It's the mark of my favor. And yes, there will be whispers, questions, rumors. There will be those who wonder how you rose so quickly, how you were entrusted so freely. But they won't understand that you weren't rising. You were returning. Returning to who I said you were before they misnamed you. Returning to alignment. Returning to rhythm. Returning to purpose. So let me be clear. You don't owe explanations. You owe obedience. You don't need to carry the weight of their confusion. You only need to carry the weight of my glory. That's what favor is for. It's not for validation. It's for visibility, for my purposes to be seen. Not so that you can shine, but so that I can be revealed through your radiance. Yes, your radiance. Because you have been lit by encounter. You have been touched by fire. You have been saturated in my word. And now you will walk with that light, unapologetically. Not arrogantly, but with holy assurance, with quiet confidence, with deep joy. And when the doors open, walk through them with grace. When the platforms expand, stand on them with humility. When the harvest comes, gather it with clean hands. Do not let favor distract you from faithfulness. Stay close, stay grounded, stay yielded, and favor will not be fleeting. It will be fruitful. My child, now that favor flows and your steps are ordered, let me speak to something even more vital, your pace. Because favor can move fast, but my presence moves with purpose. And purpose requires pace, not driven, not delayed, but divinely aligned. You've seen others run ahead. You've felt the pull to match their momentum. You've been tempted to measure success by acceleration. But I tell you now, I am not in the rush. The world will push you to hurry, but I call you to walk with me. Pace is sacred, because it's not just about when you arrive, it's about who you become along the way. If you rush, you will miss the miracle hidden in the mundane. You will skip over the people I've assigned to your path. You will exchange transformation for transaction. But you were not built for burnout. You were designed for abiding. Do you remember what I said? Abide in me, and you will bear fruit. Not perform for me. Not outpace your neighbor. Not build faster than your fear. Abide. That means you must learn to listen to my timing, not just my words. Yes, I've spoken promise over you. Yes, I've opened doors before you. But some doors need preparation before they can be walked through wisely. Some places require maturity, not just movement. And I care more about who you become than how fast you get there. I did not hide you just to reveal you overnight. I hid you so that when the revealing came, your root system would be able to hold the weight of glory. And now I ask you to walk in rhythm with me, to slow down enough to notice where I'm speaking, to rest enough to receive, to listen enough to discern. Your value is not tied to your velocity. Your identity is not measured by milestones. Your worth is not determined by pace. It is rooted in presence. And that is why I am teaching you to live differently now. You will say no to good things, not because they are evil, but because they are not assigned. You will pause before stepping forward, not out of fear, but out of reverence. You will protect your mornings again, not as a ritual but as a sanctuary. You will begin to move at the speed of trust, not urgency, because I am not building a monument through you. I am cultivating a move of my spirit, and that cannot be rushed. You must begin to see interruption as invitation, detour as development, stillness as strength. I am not asking you to do more. I am asking you to move from a deeper place, not led by adrenaline, but by awareness, not driven by deadlines, but drawn by destiny. Even in moments of acceleration, your spirit must remain anchored, because acceleration without anchoring leads to collapse. And I have not brought you this far to watch you fall under pressure. That's why I've been teaching you to live in my cadence. A rhythm of rest and release, of pause and purpose, of reverence and revelation. You are not late. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are simply walking at the speed of heaven. And heaven is never late. So stay grounded, stay open, stay soft. Do not harden your spirit in the name of efficiency. Do not become mechanical in the name of momentum. I am not after your production. I am after partnership. That means walking with me through every part of the process, even when it's slow, even when it's hidden, even when you feel passed by, because what I'm building in you is lasting. It's not temporary, it's eternal. The relationships I'm forming, the insight I'm giving, the character I'm shaping, these are not sudden explosions. They are sacred evolutions, and they require time. So breathe. Let go of the imaginary timeline. Release the pressure to arrive, and come walk with me again, not toward a destination, but into a deeper relationship. This is your new pace, and it is sacred. My child, you have come far, through silence and fire, through crushing and consecration, through obedience, favor, and now sacred pace. And now at last the unveiling begins, not a show, not a spectacle, but a sacred emergence of what I formed in secret. This is not about visibility. This is about evidence. The evidence that I keep my promises. The evidence that your yes in the wilderness was not wasted. The evidence that obedience, even in obscurity, is never forgotten in my kingdom. I know what you're feeling. An unfamiliar tension. Joy, anticipation, wonder, and fear. But do not let fear narrate this moment. Let faith do what fear never could. Move you with boldness, clarity, and peace. You are not stepping into the unknown. You are stepping into the fulfillment of what I whispered to you long ago. This is the moment I have prepared, not just for you to be seen, but for me to be seen through you. You are not the point, but you are the vessel. You are not the source, but you are the stream. You are not the author, but you are the living page I am writing my story upon. This unveiling will not be loud in the ways the world expects. It will be weighty. It will be unmistakable. It will be holy. Doors will open. Not because you forced them, but because you are carrying what was meant to walk through them. People will ask where you came from. They won't realize you've been in formation longer than they've been watching. They will see the fruit, but only heaven knew the root system that held you steady. And when you speak, there will be oil in your voice. When you move, there will be order in your steps. When you serve, there will be fire on your hands, and none of this will come from striving. It will come from being, from dwelling, from intimacy. That is your power. You do not have to prove anything. You do not have to chase anyone. You do not have to pretend anymore. You are no longer waiting to be chosen. You were already chosen, and now you are being revealed. So walk forward, not with performance, but with posture, not with ego, but with eternal confidence. Let the world see what I planted. Let the broken see what I restored. Let the silence give way to songs of fulfillment, but never forget what sustained you. Never forget the nights of nothingness that birthed these days of destiny. Never forget the floor where you learned to kneel. Never forget the altar where you wept alone and whispered, "Still, I trust you." That is what heaven honors, and I will protect what I've built. I will defend what I've assigned. I will finish what I started. You don't need to manage the unfolding. You only need to stay yielded. Do not rush this season. Savor it. Do not compare this moment. Consecrate it. Do not edit yourself for palatability. Walk in truth. Let the unveiling be as slow or swift as I lead. Because it is not about speed, it is about substance. I am not building a platform. I am building a legacy through you, a legacy of presence, of purity, of power birthed in surrender. This is your unveiling, but it is also your commissioning, not just to shine, but to serve, not just to speak, but to shepherd, not just to move crowds, but to move hearts toward me. You will carry revelation that breaks confusion. You will walk in purity that exposes counterfeit. You will carry joy that silences despair, and you will do it all from overflow, not exhaustion, from rhythm, not reaction, from communion, not competition. Stay with me. Keep your gaze locked. Keep your spirit quiet. Keep your steps steady, because what I'm doing through you will continue to unfold far beyond this moment, and the fruit will be lasting. Generations will eat from the trees you planted in tears. Souls will find me through the path your obedience carved. You are not the end of a story. You are the beginning of awakening. And what began in hiddenness will now echo in nations. Because you were faithful, because you were yielded, because you said yes again and again. So now, my beloved child, arise, shine. Not because you finally earned it, but because I have deemed it time. This is your appointed awakening. Not just a season, a summons, not just a calling, a commissioning, not just the end of delay, but the beginning of divine release. You are revealed not for glory, but for glory to move through you. And everything I ever promised has been waiting for this moment. Now go, not to impress, but to impact. Not in fear, but in fire. You are hidden for a reason. You are revealed for a purpose. Now walk in it.